Hi, everybody. Welcome to the WDW NewsCast. I am Lou Mongello, host of WDW Radio. I'm also the author of the Walt Disney World trivia books and audio guides to Walt Disney World and publisher of Celebrations Magazine. This is the WDW NewsCast for December 29th, 2010. Be sure and join us every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern at WDWNewsCast.com for a live video broadcast and interactive discussion and chat about Walt Disney World news. If you can't make the show live, you can go and check out past episodes at our channel on YouTube. It's youtube.com/WDW Radio. You can also stay tuned for updates and other news by following me on Twitter. I'm Lou Mongello there, or joining the friend page on Facebook. It's facebook.com/WDW Radio. This newscast is brought to you by our friends over at touringplans.com. They are the research team behind the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Over at Touring Plans, you can find a crowd calendar, which tells you the best parks to visit, the most crowded parks to avoid, especially this week, every day for the next 365 days. They're also going to be able to give you more than 150 touring plans to the theme parks and water parks, covering everything from parents with small children, adults, solo, seniors, grandparents, whatever the situation might be. And don't forget, you can take touring plans with you to the parks right on your phone by downloading the new Lines application, which gives you the actual wait and fast pass times for every attraction in all four parks, as well as future fast pass distribution times. Perfect if you're going to plan out your day in the parks. Nothing else like it. You can find Lines, everything else over at touringplans.com. So it has been obviously a quiet week in Walt Disney World news with the holidays and Christmas, with New Year's coming up. Not a lot going on. So I thought we would take the opportunity this week to really get you guys involved, because what I wanted to talk to you about was your opinions. I want to hear from you as to what you think some of the most important stories or influential events that happened, things that developed in 2010 and why. This is also going to tie in to this week's WDW Radio show. But I think as we start moving forward to 2011, we've been talking about some of the exciting things that we know are coming in this and the next couple of years. I want to hear from you guys who are in chat, sort of one by one. Tell me, what do you think what do you think the biggest story was for Walt Disney World, or as a Walt Disney World enthusiast, from 2010? Edison Dave says the big additions to Magic Kingdom and Disney's California Adventure. Obviously spending $1 billion over there in California. Fantasyland expansion, Art of Animation. The Haunted Mansion movie announcement, says Mike Fink, with Benicio del Toro directing. Let's see. Fantasyland. Flying Tinkerbell says the new resort. Kenobi fan says Captain EO, which I think was one of that and I think Main Street Electrical Parade were important as well. Jeremy in Utah goes specifically to Dave Smith. The chief archivist retires after 40 years with the company. Great point there. That's really sort of the first time that baton has been passed, now over to Becky Klein. Joe talks about the changes to Pleasure Island. Fast Pass Runner, obviously one of the many people that's excited for the Disney Dream cruise ship. Mary Albright, a lot of people I see mentioning the Art of Animation Resort. It seems like a lot of people are excited about the fact that a new resort is coming. And so let me ask you, let's sort of talk about Art of Animation for a second. Is it the fact that you are excited about a new resort coming? Is it that it's a new value resort coming? Or are you excited about the fact that the new resort has suites? Or is it the theming? What really is about the resort that has you guys so excited? James Disney Nut says the family suites. Zeus loves the fact that it's just a new resort with this type of theming. Family suites. So family suites really seem to be one of the things that was drawing people very much to the Art of Animation Resort. Theming all the way. So yeah, it seems that not just the fact that they're suites, but the fact that Disney's sort of changing direction as to how they are theming it, I think making it, like I said last week, a lot more relative, especially for young kids who might not understand the meaning behind something like Pop Century, obviously understand, can relate to, and are really going to enjoy things like Nemo and Little Mermaid. Some of the things that you guys mentioned were Captain EO. So we have the return of Captain EO, the return of the Main Street Electrical Parade to Walt Disney World. I, as a Disney nostalgic, that was one of the things I was very excited about. 6-7 months later, however long it's been, how do you guys feel about that? How do you still feel about the return to Captain EO? When you go to the parks, it's something that you were excited to see, or was it one of those, I saw it once, either for the first time, or saw it again, and I've had enough? And if so, how long do you think those are going to last, or should last, in the parks, both Captain EO and Main Street Electrical Parade? So JP says EO one and done. Small World says saw EO. Looks like the 80s that it is. EO was great for the nostalgia factor. EO can go. Vance and Coco still watches EO almost every time. Nolan's hoping that it's going to be there in February. Mikey says he still does Captain EO every time. And Mikey, I'm with you. Maybe because I enjoyed that sort of throwback to the 80s, and we'll talk about something else with a recent throwback to the 80s in Tron. I like going to see it. My kids also like it. They're 5 and 7, so they're seeing it for the first time. They're really enjoying it there. One thing I thought was interesting was I saw a video today from Disneyland where they were showing in the past couple of days how Disneyland has reached full capacity, and wait times for things like Space Mountain were 100+ minutes. Even things like the monorail, certainly big attractions like Finding Nemo, and there was no wait for Captain EO, which was right next door. A huge line out the door for Space Mountain, no line for Captain EO next door. I wonder if it's just the difference in the California and Orlando theme parks, or if it's sort of the feeling of Captain EO starting to wane, other than those people like us who are complete geeks who like to go see it. Deal Finder says, the kids asked why EO ever came back, but he likes it. J. Thaddeus Toad, love the name, says it's better than Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, but we do need something new. The Shaft family collectively says they like it, but they hope it's just a placeholder till something new comes. How long will EO stay around? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and again, that might depend on us. If nobody's going to see it, that might be swapped out faster than Disney had planned. Excuse me. So, real quickly, we talked about sort of this throwback to 1980s, and in the past couple of weeks, we've seen sort of a nod back to the 80s again with the release, finally, of Tron Legacy in 3D. Certainly doesn't have that 80s feel, but has that tie back to that original 80s movie, and I think Tron and Tangled were probably the two big releases this year for Disney. How do you think those things fit into the legacy of Disney? Not just in 2010, but the Disney company, the Disney film and animation studio as a whole. Yensid said Tron was awesome. Jason, I'm not going to spoil it. I know you haven't seen it yet. Nolan says he bows down to Tron. Amy Falk Peterman loves Tangled for the music. Justin Foster says both were great and very Disney. So obviously I think Tangled had very much that classic Disney animated feel. I said from the beginning, I still feel that the trailers didn't do it justice, but it's such a beautiful film, both artistically and musically. Again, that return of that Alan Menken musical style, I think really surprised a lot of people and made Tangled a much more successful film than they had expected. And I think even better than like Princess and the Frog, which I actually really enjoyed. Tron, don't know if that has the Disney feel to it, but again, I wonder looking back how that's going to fit into the legacy of Disney films. It seems to be that it is a visually stunning film. I'm not sure that the story is for everybody, but if you're going just for aesthetics and for tech and for 3D alone, Tron is, like O'Tisney says, visual spectacle, so beautiful, but you never hear people say, wow, Tron was an amazing story, or I was so captivated by the characters in Tron as maybe you would feel in something like Tangled. Craig Peterman asks, if there was still a story, Tron Legacy had the feel of the original, but with stunning graphics. Tangled reminded Amy Falk Peterman of Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid days. I agree 100%. Prez Katz says, I don't think Tron Legacy will have the staying power to hang around after a couple of years, but he thinks Tangled, along with Princess and the Frog, are going to have trouble breaking in as full-time princesses. That's very, very interesting because, again, we sort of almost gloss over the fact that Rapunzel is our next princess. Is she going to rise to the level of a Little Mermaid, of a Belle, of, what's her name, Cinderella, all those others? Again, time is going to tell. I'm not sure as well if that's the case. Tron had to be done this way to attract a generation of teen to 20s. So yeah, is this, sort of Disney, we've talked about Disney's acquisition of Marvel to bring in characters and stories to appeal to boys. Is Tron Legacy maybe that first step outside the Marvel realm of trying to do it? I think they've done so very much with Tron. Certainly I know my son, who's 5, is jazzed up to go see it, having no idea what the original Tron was all about. So Cortini brings up something else that was on my list, which is Epic Mickey. We're talking about videos and video games and sort of Disney branching out. Epic Mickey really seems to be the thing that people were really talking about from a video game perspective. Again, that pushing of the envelope as to what Disney is doing when they released Epic Mickey for the Wii. Fast Pass Runner seems to agree. A lot of people, Matt from Mickey says he bought Epic Mickey today. A lot of people let me know that that was one of the things very high on their holiday and Christmas list for themselves and for other people as well. This also seems to be something that appeals not just to kids, but adults as well. Daughter got Epic Mickey for Christmas, says Mary Albright. She loves it. A lot of people surprised. Been playing it all week, says Love Life in Florida. OSU Joe 33 says great game. So Beth also says Epic Mickey is fantastic. Kay Bailey says it's awesome. The reviews for Epic Mickey across the board have been very, very high. So that I think was something very, very important for the Disney company and for us as Disney fans in 2010, getting sort of Disney and theme parks into the video game arena. Let's go back over to the theme parks really quickly because it didn't take long for me to turn it back to food. Because in Walt Disney World, we did get the introduction of a couple of new restaurants. We got Via Napoli and La Hacienda de San Angel, as well as the La Cantina, both on the promenade in World Showcase. Both, I think, bringing some great new flavors, some new dishes, great options to World Showcase. La Hacienda also brings a new viewing location for Illuminations. I want to know if anybody, what your thoughts are on some of the dining options there. Have you had a chance to try Via Napoli or La Hacienda? And if so, what do you think? I've eaten at both. I really enjoyed it. I need to go back and sort of do a full review, sit down beginning to end and have a full meal. Mary says La Hacienda, very, very good. Joe thinks Via Napoli is a little expensive for the offerings. I'm understanding now they're trying out pizza by the slice from the Via Napoli window. $6.50 for a pretty big slice. It'll be interesting to see if that stays around and excuse me, what the response is going to be. JPO says he liked La Hacienda food. He loved the views. Via Napoli is a full-service restaurant, Elaine, so it's not a counter-service restaurant. Disney Queen loved Via Napoli. Let's see. Mary said they did sampler platters so they could try a wide variety at La Hacienda. So I think those two things were some great new additions to World Showcase. I think they were much needed, especially over in Italy. I think Tutto Italia was great, I think, but having something like Via Napoli with this sort of family home style, really good Italian pizza coming to World Showcase brings us a lot of other great options. Let's see. Well, let's keep the topic on food real quick because just in the past month and a half, a couple of other dining options opened. These were in downtown Disney, and I want to mention Pollo Campero, Fresh Appeal, and Baby Cakes, not just because they replaced McDonald's in downtown Disney, but I think all three of these dining locations represent something very important, a shift that's happening, and I think is going to continue to happen probably in 2011 and beyond, which is to healthy options, both in and out of the parks. We've started to see it over the past couple of years with the snacks that have been offered at counter service and table service restaurants. Now we have sort of healthy grilled chicken at Pollo Campero. Fresh Appeal is healthier food. Baby Cakes, for the first time, is vegan and it's gluten-free. So relatively healthy speaking. We've talked about Ocean Spray now being a sponsor. They're bringing in cranberry snacks into the parks. I think those trends are going to continue. I think we're going to see shifts in menu changes. I also think we're going to see shifts in 2011 and beyond in other dining options that are coming in. And again, Disney continuing to be cognizant of not just people's being health conscious, but their allergies and things like that. So I applaud the people over at Baby Cakes for getting in and onto property with that gluten-free food, which is actually pretty darn yummy too. They're moist and sweet, and I'll post a video soon, an interview I did with somebody over at Baby Cakes. Chankin33 loves the healthy choices. Some people say healthy, the next thing you know, we're going to be running a marathon. Well, some people really do like to make sure they try and keep as healthy as possible. Beth says these are great for those of us with health issues, although Andre from the UK says calories don't count in Walt Disney World. Andre, I agree. You walk your way around the park a few times, you burn all those calories off. Something else, last touch on food, which was kind of a blip on the radar. A lot of people didn't know about it almost it was over, was the Taste of Africa street party in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It ran for about a month from July through August. I didn't know about it until I actually went to the parks. We spent the day there, really enjoyed sort of this mini African food and wine festival in the Africa section of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Vance and Coco was there. He tried it. He loved it. Chankin wasn't there, but it sounded cool, the Taste of Africa. And I want to see, for those who were there, do you like these kind of events? Do you like these sort of mini festivals that go on throughout the year where they can bring out sort of these food and wine type kiosks and try out some of these different flavors and some of these unique styles that you might not get other times? Jason, I don't know if Taste of Africa is coming back. It's something I would love to see be a returning thing, even if it's for a month or so, like the way it ran over in Disney's Animal Kingdom. I know for us, it gave us a specific reason to go back, spend the day, and not just eat, but there were cultural demonstrations as well. So there was a lot of music, a lot of interactive stuff right there in the main thoroughfare of Africa, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed it. If you want to go back, we did a roundtable review, probably show 160-ish, somewhere in there, from the summer of 2010. I'd love for you to go back, take a listen, and let me know what you think. A couple of other quick things we wanted to mention, and maybe we'll point to my little friend back here. Disney this year introduced Duffy the Bear, and I mention it because very much a big deal was made about his introduction into the parks, specifically Epcot over in World Showcase. We know the story of Duffy, that he was made by Minnie, put into Mickey's duffel bag when he was gone out to sea, and so the legend of Duffy was born. Scott and other people who've been to Japan have testified as to how popular Duffy is overseas, and I was very curious to see when he came in how well he would be adopted in the United States. I always felt that while you go to Disney World, you want to get a Mickey plush or one of the Fab Five, but it seems to be, and there's the evidence, that Duffy may very well be taking off. And now that it's been a couple of months, what do you guys think? So Kenobi fan loves Duffy, while Pink Emma doesn't understand Duffy. Gina Marie thinks Duffy's adorable. He got a new baby one for Christmas. Some people say Duffy is meh, while Joe says his face is a hidden Mickey, and they love it. Debbie Greenhouse loves them. Some people like the fact that they come in different sizes. You can dress them. Some people who are very creative, I've seen, are already making up their own costumes for Duffy. They had a Christmas Duffy. They have World Showcase Duffys. But I do start seeing people now walking around, taking their pictures, not only with their own Duffy plush, but waiting online for the Duffy meet and greets that you have now in World Showcase. So, Mansion fan would love to see Figment come back. I agree with you as well. Small World 1 bought 2 Duffys and the World Showcase outfits. I was actually sent on a mission for somebody to pick them up a Christmas Duffy and send it to her for her daughter for Christmas. So I think it's interesting to see, and time is going to tell how much and how well Duffy is going to be adopted in Walt Disney World. A couple other minor things that I did want to mention this year was obviously every year Disney has a new promotion. We've got the Let the Memories Come In. If you remember early on in the year, the Give a Day, Get a Day promotion for Disney was something that a lot of people, almost too many people, were very excited about, where Disney partnered with volunteer organizations to let you get out, do some good, and in return be rewarded with a free day in Disney parks. If you're wondering why you haven't heard about it in a long time, it's because they ran out of the million tickets in such a short amount of time that campaign ended relatively abruptly. It certainly served its purpose. It got its message across and got people out to volunteer, but we went through pretty much all of 2010 without a new promotion. Now we're going to have Let the Memories Begin, very much, again, about you interacting and you being a part of creating it. Mr. Riddy said he did his the third week of January. CP Nolan thought it was a great promotion. A lot of people who are in chat are saying that they did the Give a Day promotion, not necessarily because they wanted a free ticket, but because it inspired them to go out and do it. Edison Dave says it was a disappointment. They should have kept on going even though they reached their goal. That was a lot of the discussion in the online communities, which was, well, now you've given out all these tickets. Do you keep giving out more, or do you keep this promotion going to continue to inspire people to do it? I wonder how much that drop-off was of people who felt compelled to maybe go out and volunteer in their local neighborhoods now that they didn't have the incentive of the free ticket. Love Life in Florida said she wished there was more offered in her area. There wasn't very much there. Diva Ostrich did give a day, redeem their tickets in February. It was great. Chelsea Bear would love to do it again. So Thaddeus Toad says, yeah, it was a great promotion. Only lasted about 3 months, and then, unfortunately, nothing. I think Disney probably learned their lesson from this one and will adjust as it goes in the future. I think the Memories campaign, we're sure, is going to last that Disney year of 16 to 18 months. One quick thing, Elizabeth says it was hard to find something for their 7-year-old to do, but they did. So it seems like a lot of people really enjoyed the campaign. And again, probably more so than Disney anticipated at the beginning. One of the final things I wanted to mention, and again, I also want to sort of tease this week's WDW radio show, or hopefully I'll sound better, and we're going to look back at the year 2010 for Disney. But I want to talk about Disney as a company, their entrance into the mobile space as far as mobile phones, mobile devices, things like the Mobile Magic app, and more importantly, they're getting into things like Gowalla, the check-in service, where Disney invested very, very heavily, not in Facebook or Foursquare, but went with Gowalla, where you can check in, get badges and passports and incentives. And there was a sort of a big pop right at the beginning when they entered the Gowalla space, and only very little now do I see people checking in as much. I'm wondering, going forward to 2011, how much Disney is going to utilize that to either have meetups, to incentivize with not just virtual gifts, but with real gifts as well for people that check in. So if you check in, if you've got a passport, you can come to a special event, a dessert party, whatever it might be. A lot of people don't know Gowalla. It's on the droid, says Matt for Mickey. Jeremy does use Gowalla. How often do you guys use it? So Edison uses it on occasion, says Edison Dave. Gowalla needs more reasons to use it. It helped me with my meets earlier this month. Wish they went with Foursquare, says JPO. Amy Falk Peterman says, hard to remember to do it. Gowalla, more people know about Gowalla than we think. I'm already checks in at every attraction, while Beagle Lady didn't even know about Gowalla. So I actually haven't seen anything when you go to the parks about Disney saying, hey, you're coming in, if you got your phone with you, check in using Gowalla or download the free Gowalla app while you're here. So unless you are very much in the online space and following what's going on, you might not even know that Gowalla is there and what it can do. So I'll be curious to see how much Disney might bring in and introduce people to it in the parks, or is it sort of just a test case, Disney dipping their foot in, knowing that they need to get in here somehow, and then seeing what goes on for the future. Certainly when we talk about in-park applications. My favorite is Lines, brought to you by Touring Plans, but that's a shameless plug for our good friends over at touringplans.com. Was there anything else, real quick, was there anything else from you guys in the chat room that was important for you or important for Disney in 2010 that maybe we didn't talk about? So Jeremy talks about D23's first Destination D event in Disneyland. Great point. Obviously, Destination D is coming back to Walt Disney World this May. The cruise line expansion, yeah, I mean, we've known about it before 2010. It's not really being introduced until 2011. That's why I didn't talk about it very much. I think 2011 is obviously going to be the year of the Disney dream. I know those of us who are going in exactly 60 days are very, very excited about it. Let's see. Anything else? J. Thaddeus Toad, great point. The passing of Roy Disney. Sometimes we overlook the losses as much as we do the gains. And yes, Roy Disney did pass just a few months ago. Well, what I want to do is I want to ask you who are still in the chat or who may be watching over on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/WDW Radio to put more comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think were the important, influential stories or news of 2010, and what do you think or how do you think that's going to affect us going forward in 2011? Keep the conversation going on the YouTube channel. I will definitely check there and continue to comment there as well. Don't forget to also come by, check out the WDW Radio Show over at WDWRadio.com. You can also check out our videos, our blogs, our fun, friendly, safe discussion forums there, as well as our free iPhone app, free emails, newsletter, and so much more. Again, you can find everything over at WDWRadio.com. There you can also purchase signed copies of my Walt Disney World trivia books, the audio guides to Walt Disney World, and get a link over to celebrationsmagazine.com. Be sure and follow me over on Twitter. I'm twitter.com/Lou Mongello, and join the friend page over on facebook.com/WDW Radio. Please keep the conversation going in the comment section. Be sure and join us every Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, over at WDW NewsCast. Thanks again to our sponsors, touringplans.com, where you can get clear, unbiased advice for your Disney vacation. You can also find the unofficial guide, Lines, everything else over at touringplans.com. To everybody else, I want to wish you all the very happiest of New Year's. Thank you for making 2010. Thank you for making 2010 a great year for me and for WDW Radio. And I look forward to a very exciting new adventures and lots of new things coming for 2011. Thanks so much, everybody. See ya.